Hello dears, welcome back to our little talk series. Today only with me because Daniel needs to go on a little wood mission. He's very busy with working on his new wooden projects.
Much love.
Which will be launched soon. So I would like to talk a bit more about the topic freedom that we have had this week. And for me, freedom has always meant like this movement, just breaking free, exploring, expanding, and just really discovering this beautiful planet with all of its colors and people and cultures and possibilities. And I've loved it, and I still love it. For Daniel and me, traveling has become our way of life, and in the last 11 years we have discovered almost every continent, and we have lived and worked at so many exotic places, and it has enriched our life and taught us so many things in so many beautiful ways that I don't want to miss a single second. And yet, as I was also sharing with you, things have changed a bit, because this breaking free, this just going wherever the road would take me, was necessary for me, as I felt quite locked in my hometown, where we both are from and where we met almost 11 years ago. And all I wanted was to escape. Like after school, I just wanted to travel as far as possible, and that's what I did. I never stopped since then. And I found fulfillment in it, and also it taught me so much to rely on myself, to rely on my own strength, to believe in myself, to be independent, and to be brave enough to do all these things, sometimes by myself and without Daniel, as we also traveled quite some time, several times alone without each other, which was very necessary, important, and precious for our relationship and our own relationship to ourselves. And by doing that, I really felt free. And being on the back of the motorbike and going with Daniel to all these amazing places that are hard to reach, that felt so special, and hitchhiking through California, for example, and sleeping in our own tent every night, and being with the bears and all the wildlife in California, and just really having the sky as our limit, as cheesy as it sounds, was really our thing. And I still love traveling. Yet I feel also that things are changing inside of me, and that I am looking for more grounding and settling in one place, which I've also already shared. And I think as long as we define freedom as things we experience in the outside, it will always be a bit difficult or risky, because the outside changes constantly. And if we rely on an outside happening, then it can get tricky, because nothing lasts forever, right? Nothing is permanent. And this impermanent nature of things coming and going and changing constantly, like the clouds in the sky, makes it necessary for us to adapt constantly to a new situation. And so many times the outcome of a situation is very different than what we have imagined it to be or wished for it to be. And so if we cling to a certain outcome of a situation, we are not really free. If we cling to a certain country we can travel to, and then it's not possible, like it is now with Corona, then suddenly we feel locked inside because we cannot travel. That's difficult, because we cannot always control the outside. Sometimes we have the illusion that we can control it, but times like Corona now show us that we don't, because then suddenly a pandemic comes, or authorities decide something, or we break our leg. It can be so many things, or a relationship doesn't turn out the way we wished it to be, or a job, or whatever it is. So if we define freedom by a certain outcome that gives us the feeling of being free, then it can get tricky. And that's what I really feel and felt. Like sometimes the need to be always somewhere else and to always move on as soon as it got boring in a place became sometimes like a prison, because whatever you feel you need can feel like a trap, right? Can feel like a prison. And then it's the opposite of freedom, which is funny because we think traveling is like the definition of freedom, but then for world travelers, and I'm sure many of you can resonate, it can sometimes feel very locked inside this need to constantly change environments and people. So what I feel and what my goal is also to feel freedom inside of myself by not clinging and attaching myself to a certain outcome of a situation, but rather to be free from a defined outcome and to really surrender to what is, to really surrender to the present moment. And if that moment changes, which it will because it always does, then to also be able to live with this outcome and this new situation and to adapt to it. And it sounds so easy, but it's so hard, right? Especially for people who like to be in control and who have so many plans already figured out and so many ideas, like I also do. Then if something changes, that can be quite hard. But in the end, we can only rely on our inner resources, and we can always come back to them. So if we strengthen them and practice things like meditation and awareness and mindfulness, this can really help to just deal with changes, unseen events, surprises, failures also. And that is so needed in these unpredictable times that we will always have probably. And now we feel it more than ever. But it has always been like this, right? And everything changes. Friendships change, relationships break apart, and we lose jobs, so many things. People die. Nothing is really secure and certain, but we like the illusion that it is, and we like the sense of security, and that's also okay. Yet I feel the way to it, the key is really to accept every moment the way it is. And by befriending the moment in whatever shape or form the moment takes, we can make the moment our ally. We can become one with the flow of life. We feel synchronized with the flow of life. If we have resistance to the moment, the way it is right now, to the presence, then we go into resistance with life itself. Then we go into resistance with the flow of life, and then everything feels really hard. And oh no, I don't want the moment to be the way it is. I want the next moment, or I want it to change, or I want a different feeling. And that can feel very exhausting, right? But if we manage to just accept the moment the way it is and to surrender to it, then everything becomes really easy. And then we also see, okay, it's not that hard, it's not that horrible. I can accept things. I can observe it, I can look at it with a distance. I can observe it, how the moment, the feeling feels in my body. And by doing that, suddenly it loosens its power over me. It becomes softer, and it changes, because everything changes. But if we react with resistance, we make it stronger. What you resist persists. Maybe you've heard of this saying. So if we feed it with our resistance and our negative energy, we go into resistance to life, and then it continues to be bothering us. And if we manage to simply surrender to what is, to take the moment, the present moment, the way it is, then we feel true freedom. So I would like to hear what is freedom for you, what you feel about this, and how you experience the concept of freedom or limitations or adapting to the ever-changing present eternal moment. Really curious to hear. Lots of love and have a beautiful weekend.